How do you find that sweet spot between what you want for your wedding and what your family expects? Is it even possible to create a celebration that feels true to you without leaving anyone important out or blowing your budget? And how many hours drumming at your wedding reception is too much? Today, I'm yakking it up with Ashley and Tim, a newly married couple from Maine in the United States who wrestled with those questions and somehow managed to pull off a wedding that was intimate, meaningful, and yet super chill for everyone involved. From navigating a guest list that doubled overnight to negotiating with their venue and finding creative ways to make their dream wedding weekend work for everyone, Ash and Tim have some seriously practical advice and a few hilarious stories about their experiences and how, when you stick to your values and what's important to you, you can find solutions when at first it seemed like there weren't any. If you're planning a wedding and feeling stuck between eloping and inviting the masses, are on the fence about having a first look, or just want to hear how stunningly beautiful Tim and Ashley's Lakeside Inn was, you're in the right place. Let's get stuck into it. Unbridely is a community of pro-wedding vendors who believe in freedom and integrity in weddings, giving you options, solutions, tips and tricks to create the experience and memories that you and your fiancé really want and deserve. Because we believe that weddings are a team sport. With how-tos, stories and interviews with recently married couples, we find out what went right and what they'd change if they could go back and do it all over again. I'm Camille and welcome to the Unbridely podcast. Hi Ash, hi Tim. Welcome to the podcast and congratulations, you just got married.
Hi, thank you. Yes, we're very excited.
Yeah, freshly married, freshly back from your honeymoon. And perhaps, do you want to share with the listener, like, how we ended up getting in contact, maybe?
Sure. I reached out. We have listened to Unbridely a lot since getting engaged. And we also purchased the How to Write Vows That Don't Suck. And our wedding was amazing. And so I reached out on Instagram and just wanted to thank you because it was a huge help. And you reached back out to us, and we've been ecstatic to come on the podcast.
Because I want to know all the things, of course. And you both you seem so warm and you seem so open. And I just know, and you would understand from listening as well, that just the more people share, the more they help each other. So like you can help the next poor, uncertain, gorgeous little engaged couple to go through like a little bit less stress. And we just pass it on, right?
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay, let's kick you off. So can I ask, how long have you guys been together?
4.5 years.
Nice. And then decided to get married roughly how long ago?
We've been talking about it, just knowing that we were really serious about taking those steps forward over the last few years. And then it was last September, so 9-10 months ago, that I proposed and we got engaged.
Yeah, we both bought our houses in 2020, and we met 6 months after. Like I bought my house, he bought his house 6 months afterwards. And then we met 6 months later. And then it was like, oh crap, we have two houses, and then moved in together in 2023.
Yeah,
right?
2022.
Oh, yeah. He's the one better with numbers. Numbers, dates, that's him.
This is why you compliment each other.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So then you decide to get married. And what was the theme? What was the focus? What did you guys decide that the plan was?
Well, pretty early on, like Tim said, we knew that we were going to get married eventually. So once Tim proposed, I went into hardcore planning mode. I like doing my research.
Sure.
Listen to a lot of Unbridely.
You're in a safe space here. Yeah.
And we just started looking at venues and kind of getting ideas, and really started realizing we knew we wanted it to be in Maine. I'm from Maine and Tim is from Massachusetts.
Which is not too far away. Am I right? For those geographically challenged or just living in Australia, could you explain perhaps where you are in the United States?
Yeah, so Maine is in the most northeastern part of the country, just next to Canada and New Brunswick specifically. But yeah, between Maine and Massachusetts, it's anywhere between an hour, 2, 3, 4 hour drive. So it's not too bad.
That's easy. Piece of cake. You were neighbours. So you decided you wanted to get married in Maine. Did that mean a lot of your family then, Tim, had to come on across?
Yeah, there was a handful of folks. I'm not sure if Ashley referred to it yet, but we had a fairly small wedding, which was something that was important to us. So, it was a handful of folks that did end up driving north.
And we knew, like, because most of his family was in Massachusetts and his family's a little bigger than mine, that we knew we wanted to make sure we were accommodating for them and that wherever we were having the wedding didn't require them to drive all over the place.
Yeah, nice.
And Maine is much more rural than Massachusetts.
Okay.
So we wanted to make sure we weren't like sending them down some back roads that they weren't going to be comfortable. So that was a lot of how we started figuring things out, was thinking about where can we make sure that they can stay close by. We can kind of house most of the people. And we also knew that we didn't want to have a big wedding. We didn't want 50 or even 100 people. So our guest list was 35, I think, including us.
Oh, divine. But tell me why you decided that. Like, why didn't you want the big wedding? What's going on there?
My family's a little smaller, so I have some like a little more untraditional. And I actually worked weddings when I was like 17 years old
Uh-huh.
at a venue that was part wedding venue, part country bar.
Sounds like a dangerous mix.
Yes. So I learned what I didn't want. And I would do the full setup. I would work the wedding. I would do the cleanup and then sometimes like brunch the next morning. So I had an idea, and being from Maine and working in restaurants for years, I kind of had some idea what places were available. We looked at like ski resort locations. We love being outside. We looked at like golf courses. We looked at some small little inns because like we were thinking about eloping, but we also knew we wanted to not piss our parents off. Like,
Is that why? Is that what it was? That the compromise for you?
yeah, definitely.
You had worked, when you were younger at really big weddings, you saw what they were like, right?
And I didn't want to plan that. I didn't want to do all that. Like, we have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
I didn't want another full-time job.
Correct. Oh my God, Ash. Correct. Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of couples are shocked. They're going, oh, this is so much work. I'm like, no shit. People do it for a job.
Yeah, definitely. And just the price tag was like scary.
Yeah. Nice. But then you were thinking of eloping perhaps. Tim, why didn't you go down that path?
As Ash said, we did want to include our parents and our family, to have some really, really close friends that we absolutely wanted to include in that day and that weekend. So we absolutely didn't want to
exclude
part of our life.
Yeah. And we've like lost some family members over the last few years. So that really made us feel like too that we can't leave our parents out. There's some really close friends that have been there for our worst days that we knew we wanted them to be there for our best days.
Yeah.
So it was really important that we at least had a few people there. And we looked at some inns or a inn that did elopements, and we went and checked it out and we're kind of mortified. It was like more of a murder mystery night scene.
What?
Smelled like a great grandmother's house and not a good way.
What, scary dolls sitting in the corner, or what are we?
It's very dated.
Just old. I mean, the decor and wallpaper, and it was just,
Wasn't your vibe.
Yeah, exactly. We found another venue that I fell in love with. That was this old Victorian mansion.
Oh, yeah.
With these huge, like Bridgerton-esque gardens that I knew immediately, like, oh, I love this. But then doing a little more research, it was kind of in the woods, and we would need to bring in porta potties. My grandmother was coming. Oh, she's not going to do a porta potty. So that was like, okay, this isn't working.
Yeah. So where did you land upon? Like, how did you find your perfect spot? Because, listener, I'll let you know, I've seen a few photos already from Tim and Ash's wedding. It's stunning. And it looks like you're on some sort of beautiful lakeside.
Yeah.
Talk to me about it.
I did my research. I went online and was just searching for places. And it's called Wolf Cove Inn. They're a small little inn in Poland, Maine. They have like 12 rooms and a separate cabin. And the inn and the little cabin are within 100 feet or what is that, like 30 something meters from the lake. So very small. I grew up in the summers. My family would rent our own camps on lake. So I absolutely love the water. And Tim would spend some summers in high school coming to a camp in Maine. So I like found it online. The website was pretty basic, but I just like had a really good feeling about it.
Nice.
And they only did like I forget what they called it, intimate weddings. They specialize in doing intimate weddings or just like weekend getaways. So the limit was 15 people.
Oh,
So we were going to a concert in Portland in southern Maine. And I was like, maybe they'll give us a tour. Maybe we can drive by and they can give us a quick tour. Or we called them. They were open to it. So we went over. And as soon as we pulled in the parking lot, I was like, this is the place. Like,
you've got to convince these people.
They had these massive pine trees that were just beautiful right by the lake. And the owners, Jeff and Nicole, were so phenomenal, so nice. So we met them, we toured around, and we originally booked it for a wedding with only 15 people, including us.
Oh.
Yeah.
And part of that, out of the 12 or 13 rooms, you can only book 4 rooms, just because they didn't want to overtake
Sure.
the whole inn and
Yeah.
not and leave the rest of the guests out of the picture,
Yeah.
or in an uncomfortable situation. But yeah.
So we booked it, and then we called our parents, and this was a few weeks after getting engaged, probably maybe a month or so.
Yeah, about mine.
We called and said, hey, we booked this place. We can have 15 people. And the answer was kind of like, what? And we could only have 4 rooms. And the other hotels are a little ways away. You know, some of our parents anyways, asked like, what about?
So-and-so, what about?
And we were like, yeah. We were like, oh no. They had mentioned to do a full in buyout when we were there. And I just kept like, no way. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
We didn't even think it was remotely
Yeah.
close to our price point or anything.
Right.
But we contacted them and asked, crunched some numbers, called some friends and said, hey, would you be up for this? Friends in different states that we knew would be traveling, friends that have kids, and like, do you want to bring your kids? Do you not? And all of them were eager to come, eager to leave their kids behind.
See, this is the problem. This is the problem. When you're a decent person and you surround yourself with people who actually like you, you get to your wedding and you start planning and you're going, oh, those people won't come. They go, oh, we'd love to be there. And you're like, oh, great.
We can make this work.
Yeah. So you grew from 15 to 35.
To 35, yeah. So we had 25 people staying at the inn and then 10 additional people. So my family that lives a little more locally came for the day and it was magical. It was magical.
Wow. But can I push you a little bit further? You did say that you didn't think it was going to be in your budget, your price range to have the whole place. So how did you wangle it? Can I ask?
I spent a lot of time on spreadsheets, but we called our friends and said, hey, would you be able to do this? And asked them to pay for their rooms. So we were not taking the whole bill.
Right.
And got a little extra help from parents, which they were pleased that our guest list was able to grow a little bit more. And we just made it happen.
Yeah. Because a lot of people want to know that, guys. Like, you know, almost everyone I chat with comes up against, we wanted this and then we saw the price of it and so we didn't have it. And sometimes there's things possible in between that couples don't think about and they don't pursue any further. You're striking me, Ash, though, as a bit of a go-getter. Like you don't stop
Or sleep.
until you've worked stuff out, do you?
Yeah. There was a lot of middle of the night planning. Tim would wake up and I've come up with a whole new plan.
Yeah. What are we doing now, babe? Well, Tim.
Coffee first.
Yeah. Surprise. That's usually how relationships work, I got to tell you. So, you know, you're on a good path. Can I ask then, you know, you had to allocate a fair whack of your budget in the venue and everything. How did you go about the rest? of your planning and your budgeting?
Part of why we also loved this venue was they covered a little more. So by booking with them, they covered like the food and drinks was all with them. Their officiant they had available, the cake, they already had a baker. Florist was already included, like our bouquet and boutonniere. So we had to pay what was extra, but everything was wrapped up.
But you didn't have to plan it.
Exactly. So that was huge. And for the
Yes.
price, we were looking at, we could have a ski resort wedding or this, but this allowed us to spend the whole weekend with our family and friends.
Oh.
And that's what was most important to us, that we really just wanted to spend time with these people. We wanted to make sure they weren't traveling up here. We were like seeing them for 5 minutes and then bye, see you later. So that really made the price point more doable for us and made it worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I would do it 1,000 times over.
Yeah, I mean, you spend X amount on the wedding day, but as Ash said, this also included a rehearsal night, the Friday night rehearsal, dinner, all day Saturday, and then Sunday they did a farewell brunch for everybody. So it all was a full package, that made it worth it.
That's so civilized.
It was incredible. And we read that contract with a fine-tooth comb.
Well done.
And we know we're going to still have to get a photographer. We know we're going to have to do these things. But they also just went above and beyond. Like they had told us they're doing updates. But we actually stayed at the inn in February for Valentine's Day. They had said they were hiring a new chef that had worked in some renowned restaurants in New York. And they said, he's coming for Valentine's Day, and then he'll be the chef for your wedding. So we were like, okay, we'll splurge a little.
We'll audition him. This will be great.
So we went there for Valentine's Day, and we tried the food. The baker brought us samples, and it was phenomenal. And even going in then, they had redone the ceiling in the dining room, and everything was just beautiful, that I knew no matter what, we were in good hands.
Yeah, you found a gem. Congrats.
Yeah.
So a lot of what you wanted was already there, all built into the offer of the venue, which is brilliant. It only meant that you had to bring along a handful of other vendors. Who were they, and how did you find your other wedding vendors?
I feel very lucky. The florist was through Wolf Cove. And the other thing about them was everything was farm to table and very local, very organic. We really wanted to support local and just share the love. So I fell in love with our florist and coordinated with her. But like you said, the venue was so beautiful. I told her I want Mother Nature to not hate me on my wedding day. But the venue was so beautiful, I didn't have to buy all kinds of flowers and do all kinds of craziness. And so we could splurge a little bit more on, we hired our photographer the day after we booked it, because I was stressed to make sure we had a photographer. And then I used to teach high school. So I had a previous student that was a videographer that did work for me when I was in high school, for the school and for projects. So I knew he was incredible. So I messaged him. Plus he has a drone. And because of the location, I studied environmental science. I love the outdoors. I wanted to capture the property. So pretty early, we decided we're going to splurge and hire him. And Tim is a musician. So Tim's a percussionist. So that was another really key thing, was he wanted to be able to play at our wedding.
Yes.
And some of his friends are also very talented. So we knew we really wanted him and a few of his friends to be able to play. So we played with who could we hire that would be the right fit. And I remembered I have my high school English teacher is also a published author and musician, and him and his wife are in a band called the High Spirits Duo. So I messaged him and his wife and said, hey, any chance you would be available to do our wedding and you would let Tim play with you? I swear he's good.
He won't make you sound bad.
And it just worked out.
That's incredible. So hang on. So this is basically all people that you knew.
Yeah, the photographer we had never met, but I feel like she's family now. She was absolutely incredible. And with the package with her, we also got our engagement shoot. So she was actually going on maternity leave when we booked her. So our engagement shoot wasn't until March. which we were like, we don't care. We've never had professional photos done. Like, we don't care. This will be fun.
Yeah, a lot of couples find, Ash, with the engagement shoot that they get a sense for what it might be like on the wedding day. So to dip their toe in the water, so to speak. How did you guys go with that engagement shoot?
It was phenomenal. We drove down to Southern Maine, which was a couple hour drive, which was closer to our venue. And we went down there and met her. I think it got canceled at least once because of snow. But we got there eventually. We were both pretty nervous, but she made it so easy. And we both like really wanted some goofy photos. We didn't want super stuffy. And she was great about encouraging like Tim to jump on my back and just crazy things that we were like, this is going to be perfect. We were like laughing the whole time, and we brought our dogs with us. So we just knew after that we were like giddy. Like that was so much fun. We know she's going to be fun for the wedding and comfortable.
It's a great litmus test.
Yes.
You said though, Ash, that you both didn't know your photographer before you booked her. What gave you that confidence to book her? What was it about her that you know, and how did you find her? Was it a website? Was it social media? Were you recommended by other people? What was it that gave you that confidence?
Well, I have a cousin that lives locally, and she has a little girl, and she had done some digging around looking for family photos. So as soon as we booked the venue, I messaged her and said, hey, do you know any local photographers that you recommend? And I think she sent me at least 5 immediately. And I went through and looked, and Akadia was our photographer, and her photos were phenomenal and very natural. They didn't look very posed, which is what we wanted. We wanted to look like us. We even thought about having our engagement shoot in our house, like because we just wanted to show us. So right off, I knew like this was probably going to be a great fit.
Yeah. Were you comfortable too, Tim, with your photographer?
Oh, absolutely. Like Ash said, she just connected with us so quickly, so down to earth, easy to talk to, and just, you know, as Ash said, we've never had professional photos taken. So to hold hands and walking, you know,
Through the
slowly
fields.
across a field, like is kind of like, oh, this isn't supernatural, but she did it and guided us in a way that made it super easy, and she just took to it all and really made us feel like we're already family. We know how to talk to you. We know how to.
And she was honest too. So like when she asked us to pose in some ways, so we were like, oh yeah, this feels natural. And she would like voice that, like, oh my gosh, you guys, you look like you like each other. This is great. Like, and joking. But then like, I think when we were like dancing, like we're not dancers. Like, and we're like, this is so not us. She was like, yes, this clearly isn't you.
I can see that on my screen.
Let's do something else.
Let's move on. That is something with a photographer, like, you know, the ability to communicate, very important. But then to be able to shift gears when things aren't quite gelling, you know, and suggest some different things and keep it light. I think that's such a good skill in a photographer.
Yeah, by the wedding day, it was like I feel like she was like an old friend. Like at one point she's laying down on the ground like between us, and like it was amazing.
Oh, gorgeous. That's so good. That's so good. Now, I know though, so then you had the musicians and you got to play, Tim. Tell me you got to have a good time too.
Well, yeah. So they're a duo. They're guitar and vocals, and got to sample a lot of their music that they have posted online. And they're just great musicians, very fun, very engaging, and just sound great together. You know, I envisioned either bringing like a small drum kit, and some of my buddies would have maybe some auxiliary percussion, and you know, and then there's the idea of the missing bass player, which you would typically fill out the song.
I didn't know that was a thing.
So
I'm a bass player, so you know, a little bit hurt. I wasn't asked, but I'll get over it. Got my Fender Jazz around the corner here. It's okay. It's all right. Just would have sounded hollow. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that was always my
Our 10-year anniversary. You're coming.
Yeah. Deal. Tell me, do you have like a memory in your head of the favorite song that you played on your wedding day?
There was a handful. Well, there was a very long list of tunes.
Okay.
And the way I kind of laugh about it is I was trying to aim for just 6 to 8 tunes. And I was trying not to put a lot of pressure on us, like kind of jumping in on their gig, if you will.
Yeah.
But they were loving it.
But by the time, because, let me back up. The first and foremost thing was my buddies were going to jump in and play our first dance with the band.
Oh.
Which I didn't know about, which was awesome.
So I had coordinated that with the band ahead of time. And then additionally, later in the night, we were going to maybe do 6-10 tunes off their playlist, kind of off the cuff, a little impromptu. But then by the time the duo had heard my friends play, they're like, "Oh, you guys are like actual musicians." So they just
pumped.
kept calling tunes and calling tunes. By the time, I think we played 2 hours together.
Oh no.
So it was everybody was having a. No, I had played a little less because I want to make sure I could get out and see
actually
see
spend time with your wife.
that too.
But the best part is I had never heard Tim play drums in that context. He's played in some steel drum bands and he's played with a symphony.
Yeah.
So I'd heard that, but I'm like, I've never heard him play with a band.
Yeah.
Until that night. And
It's hot, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh God, that's beautiful. I love how the duo just kind of went, oh, this isn't just a drunken, play 2 songs in A major. Great. Let's go.
I had sent them like a YouTube video that I found of Tim and a few of his friends playing to be like, hey, just so you know, I'm not making this shit up. They can actually play. Like,
they are capable.
Here's something. And one of my favorite memories was I was inside in the suite that my mom had, watching everyone like get ready right before the wedding. Everyone was like getting seated and watching the band play right in front of me. And my teacher, Dave Patterson, that was the guitarist, was also like one of my favorite teachers. And watching one of our friends, Ben, play bass. And I'm like, I didn't know Ben could do that. Like, it was just so cool.
That's so beautiful. Okay, so the band's rocking. Photographer's now a family member. What other vendors did you have to hire that weren't a part of the venue deal?
Well, we talked about our videographer, Ashley's former student, Riley.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about Quinn.
I was saying, and Quinn was our prized and secret and joy. Before we got engaged, we went into a coffee shop in Portland, and I saw a business card for a live painter. And I'd kind of heard of the idea. I love art. I used to do pottery. And I came out of the bathroom. I was like, so honey, I know we're not engaged, but I took a picture of this just in case someday. And so once this, escalated and became a little bigger, I was really concerned. Like, I don't want our guests to be bored. And we're at this place all day. Like I don't want to buy a lot of things. I want to try to make sure that like Mother Earth loves me on my wedding day. I don't want to buy crap that people are just going to throw away. So we had like some little favors. We had some little tiny symbols that we made or I painted on and things like that. But it's like, I feel like we need something extra. And I decided to like look into Quinn of Black Lilac Studios, and we hired her to come. And she actually kind of gave us a little deal because our wedding was so small. So we hired Quinn to come and do a portrait of us. So she's painting an acrylic portrait of us that we haven't got yet. And she painted little watercolor paintings of all of our guests. And we didn't tell anyone except for my mom and one friend because I couldn't resist. So everyone showed up and was like, what is this? And Quinn was there painting. Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Yeah. It's so, so good. I was just recently looking at a friend's watercolor painting reel on Instagram, and, she was just telling people about what she does. She's over, in Europe at the moment because it's cold here in Australia. So she's followed the sun. She's doing weddings in Europe right now, painting beautiful watercolor pictures of wedding guests. And yeah, her, I guess, marketing is it's the wedding favor your guests always take home with them.
Yeah, everyone loved it. They've been framing them.
Do you know what one of the biggest regrets of newly married couples is? They'll say, I wish I had more memories from my wedding day. It was my favourite day. And one of the smartest ways I've seen couples do this is by making sure that they arrange a quick, foolproof, and really simple way to collect and share their guests' wedding photos. Because if you think about it, with an average wedding of, say, 100 guests, with every one of them taking 5 photos or videos, I mean, they'll take much more, of course, but I'm talking about the good ones. That's an opportunity for you to collect and download 500 extra photos and videos of their perspective on your wedding day. The stuff that happened that you didn't even get to see. But your barriers are overly complicated instructions or processes. Let's face it, if it takes too long, forces your guest into registering, if you've got to use a certain social media platform, or it's just a pain in the ass, and I'm looking at you, Dropbox and Google Drive, your family and friends just won't do it. And the tech fear and privacy concerns too, because no one wants to download yet another app that has a data breach. Never Miss Moments is an essential resource for busy soon-to-be-weds just like you. Your unlimited photo and video gallery is held in a secure server for 12 months, and for your guests, it's a one-click QR code solution. There's no app to download, no need to register, and it's quick. Win-win. Your guests will be able to look back on and reminisce about your wedding, and your fam and friends' different perspectives of your wedding day is such an incredible lifelong gift for you too. The team at Never Miss Moments are obsessed with giving you the very best customer service, and I'm stoked to be able to pass on their special 10% off discount offer on their galleries when you go to nevermissmoments.com/unbridely. So that's never miss moments, all one word, .com/unbridely, which, in case you don't already know, UNBRIDELY. The discount will show up in your cart automatically. And of course, I'll pop the link in the show notes for you as well. You've got this watercolor artist, you've got your amazing photographer, we've got the video, and drone and everything, and the band. I feel like there was an extra thing that I'm forgetting about your vendors.
Our baker was phenomenal. Our cake was incredible.
Please discuss cake.
I don't even remember. It was like a lemon blueberry cake with a Swiss meringue.
Yep.
I think was the frosting. We tried it there in February. We tried I think she had called them little shooters that were fabulous. And I had messaged her and told her I love flowers. I love vegetables. I have massive gardens. I knew I wanted our cake to have some flowers on it. And we have 2 dogs that we love that weren't going to be at the wedding. So we had little clay figurines made of our dogs. And we asked her to place them on and make it look like one of them was eating the cake.
Yes.
And it was perfect.
There's a certain photo of you, and I got to share it on Instagram when I publish this episode. It looks like your flowers are in the shape of a heart. Is that true?
There was no manipulation. That the bouquet itself was unbelievable. And our florist, Chelsea, when I saw her, I ran up and was like, "Can I hug you?" I was so excited. But all of the flowers were organic. They were local. And same thing, I just told her I just wanted to be wildflowers. I gave her an idea of colors, but I didn't give a color palette. I was kind of up for whatever. But she put little pea tendrils in the flower bouquet and little unripe blueberries. But in that photo, it looks like a heart.
Yeah.
And I think our heads help shape that. And we still don't know if it's Akadia's pure artistry to find that moment, or if it was just part of the bouquet. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite photos.
Yeah, it's just gorgeous. I love it. But it just looks like someone has gone and done a big handful of something that's growing nearby and wrapped a ribbon. And I know that's not floristry. Sorry, all the florists out there. I'm not downgrading your art and your craft, your incredible skill, but that's how, untouched it looked. That's how natural it looked. Just stunning. And you also had a floral crown, Ash?
Yeah, that I had bought online on Etsy. I had found it, but I had sent a picture to my florist and she added some extra flowers and I was literally just shoving them in my hair and like, yep, that'll do. Like, we're good.
That's brilliant. So, I mean, guys, everything sounds so smooth and idyllic and wonderful. Surely not. Surely there was some, I don't know, parts in there where things weren't going as planned, where you're going, did we really want to do this? What was the hardest part of wedding planning for you?
I think the hardest part of the wedding planning was having such a small guest list was hard. Like if we could have grown that to be 50 people, I'm sure that would have been a little easier, or more. But so that made it a little tight, and really just sticking to what we wanted and what the priorities were. Our budget wasn't endless, so we knew like some things we just weren't going to fit in, and we needed to make sure to not to get lost in, oh well, these people did this at where their wedding, or these people think we should do this. Like we knew early on, these are the things that matter. This is what we're doing. Like one thing for me is I did my own hair and makeup, and I had so many people tell me that I shouldn't do that, and I said I don't care. Like I'm going to do that anyways. I'm going to spend that money on my live painter.
You seem, though, I mean, I find it hard to believe, Ash, that, you would be swayed by other people very much. It sounds like you know exactly what you want and you know how to go about getting it. But what gave you the courage to go, yep, I can do my own hair and makeup for my wedding?
Well, it was kind of bold because I don't do my hair and makeup very often. I've literally learned to do makeup since being engaged, is how I feel. A friend of mine has come help. She took me to Ulta and showed me what to buy. And I've spent way more money on makeup than I've ever spent in my life. I can't believe how much I now own. We needed to buy a new bathroom cabinet. But I love it.
Tim's just shaking his head here.
I work from home, and those days Tim would come home and I'm in my office. I'm like, I'm working really hard, honey. And then he comes in and I've got my mirror and all my makeup laid out. Like, I'm like, by the way, we're going out to dinner tonight. Like,
because we're not wasting all of this.
Yeah. But like I said before, we'd lost some loved ones like a few years ago, and those were really tough years. I actually had Bell's palsy, which was like facial paralysis, due to stress.
Wow.
So I'd had these things happen and just was like, you know what? I'm going to take care of me. So I booked facials for myself like once a month, from January to the wedding. I bought a lot of makeup. I learned how to do my hair a little bit more. My hair's a little wild and crazy anyways. So I knew I'm just going to let it do its thing and put a flower crown on and I'm good to go.
I love that, Ash. I find a lot of couples don't realize that before their wedding. They realize, life's too short, people die, health is really precious, I'm going to do it my own way. They work that out after the wedding. I was about to say I'm really grateful, but I bet you're really grateful that timing just worked that way for you, that everything, as you said, just fell into place, right?
Yeah, it was really, really incredible. And I think for me personally, I knew I do not want to be getting my hair done or my makeup done early in the morning. Like when we hired Riley, our videographer, I knew we had a drone. We were at this beautiful location with all our friends and family. I wanted to spend the day with our friends and family. I didn't want to spend it getting ready. So we actually were like hanging out. It was supposed to be rainy. And then the morning of, all of a sudden the sun came out and it was beautiful. And we had planned to go out in a canoe. So that way Riley could capture us out in a canoe on the lake, with like the inn and our guests back on land. And I had planned a cute outfit to wear. It was a little cold. And we were like, whatever, let's just wear t-shirt and jeans, and went out in the canoe and came back. And I had done my hair beforehand. And I told Tim, I was like, I don't think I'm going to shower. I don't think I'm going to redo my hair. Like, it's not that bad. Like, I think we're just going to make it work. And he started getting ready. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go get ready at my mom's suite. And I didn't want to put any makeup on. My esthetician that I got facials from is phenomenal. And I wore like no makeup up until the ceremony. I just kept
Wow.
wandering the grounds. Like, I just want to hang out with everyone. I was like sitting by the fire pit, hanging out with everyone. Like, I think I should be putting makeup on, but I'm just going to hang out here. Like,
I feel like you got your priorities straight, guys. Seriously.
yeah, feel very grateful.
Were you as chilled, Tim?
I think so.
Mostly?
Yeah, mostly. I woke up that day feeling pretty relaxed, and I think it has a lot to do with the way things were organized through the inn. We didn't have to do a ton that day. But yeah, of course, I'm not going to lie. There's still a sense of nerves and excitement and anticipation for the
And you
ceremony.
were focused on the music, making sure that was all lined up. The
Yeah.
band was all set.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to make sure they were ready to go. Because as we were starting to get dressed and get ready, they were starting to arrive and make sure everyone's positioned and all that. But definitely some nerves and, like I said, just anticipation. But
Yeah.
I'm impressed with how relaxed I was overall. So I'm very thankful for that. And not to the point where I'm, getting sick over it or anything. It's just
Yeah.
very, very thankful for that.
And we're both pretty organized and like meticulous in our different ways. And I had planned everything and we had clear totes that I had ready to go. So we had like one tote that was like to hand the venue. And Tim actually had to get there before me because I had a spray tan and then I had to shower. So I had sent him with, you're taking this, you're going to hand it over. And there's an inventory list in it. And that's all we need. Like, we had another like tote with stuff for our guests, little welcome bags, and another for us. So I feel like the week leading up to it, our brains were on overload, like making sure everything was all set, all T's were crossed and I's were dotted. But by the day came, we were just ready to have fun.
So good. So you're waking up in the morning, you're already there. I really think that that's a massive advantage, don't you think?
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Even after the weekend, I mean, Ashley kept saying this the whole weekend, but like, I can't imagine how people don't get married at Wolf Cove.
Yeah.
And because of the exact experience, how you said it, it's like being there that morning really takes that edge off of going, oh, I need to do this, do that, or be here or be there. So it made a big difference just to already be there.
And all our guests were in the inn and we were in this small little cabin just outside. So like to wake up and just him and I, like, nice and quiet. The lake's right there. Like, I was waking up to like looking through the pines at the lake, and then just to walk over to the inn and get coffee, and all our best friends and family are there. And we're
Everyone's
getting
there.
fed this phenomenal breakfast.
Yeah.
It felt like a fairy tale. And I kept like, I think that morning I woke up and looked outside. I was like, it's like someone planned this or something. Like,
Yeah. Super meticulously with lots of spreadsheets. But it's a gift. I think planning and organizing things, if that's your personality type, then run with it. But then give yourself the permission to be the bride or groom or the couple getting married, whatever, on the day. Like, and you gave yourself permission. You gave yourself space, a little cabin to wake up in, your favorite things in the world, nature, flowers, friends and family, music. Bang, done.
We knew we wanted to spend like quality time together. And like that was also like part of why we chose it, and why like we knew we wanted to go on a canoe for a few minutes together, just to have a few minutes of just us. And that worked out fabulously.
What went really well on the day? What did you just stop and go, wow, that was really good, extra good?
I feel like the whole day was pretty incredible. It really was. My grandmother couldn't make it. Another really close family friend couldn't make it. I forgot waterproof mascara. But my cousin was a godsend and got me some like an hour before the ceremony. But I feel like it was just like everything just fit. Like once Tim started getting ready, and like I said, I remember looking out. I was in my wedding dress, like looking out these windows and just seeing everybody on the lawn, like the music's playing, it just felt like I was floating. It felt incredible. And then our first dance, like to not know what that was. And Tim, I didn't know we were going to even have a first dance until a few weeks beforehand. He said, "Hey, just so you know, like I'm planning this," but I didn't know what song it was going to be. And then when that started, like it clicked what the song was. Coming Home Song by Sammy Ray and the Friends, my favorite band, my favorite song.
Okay.
And the two of us just were like dancing and singing to each other. And it felt like nobody else was there. Like it was phenomenal.
Oh, guys. And tell me, how did your vows go? So you wrote your own vows? Did you keep them a surprise from each other?
We did. And I think this is another piece of what helped the day go
That was phenomenal.
Really well and kind of get some nerves out was Riley, our videographer. Right after our first look, he took the time, and Ashley and I shared our vows privately then as he recorded them.
Gorgeous.
And we got to have that moment to ourselves, away from everybody, right next to the water. And that's a moment I know I'll never forget. But then getting to read them in front of everybody in the ceremony 30, 45 minutes later, it was even just as special. So I feel like, that was great.
And I know like Tim was a little more nervous. I feel like, I don't know, months before on what writing our vows was going to be. We ended up actually asking a friend to be our officiant, and she was phenomenal. And so we purchased your book, How to Write Vows That Don't Suck. I was like, honey, I think this will really help. And we bought it. We read it through it together. And I was like, I think if we, just kind of use these frameworks, we're going to like have the same length, but let's not tell each other. And we both took our time. We like said we'd do it months in advance, and that didn't happen. It was like the week before. We both just went. We both went at night and like, okay, I'm going to do mine. I was up in the middle of the night sometimes, like on my phone, like writing things. But I loved when we actually did our first look and started reading our vows, we both started them the same way. We had no idea. Like
that's so cool.
We both said very similar things, but different. Yeah. It was perfect.
Yeah. We were like laughing at each other in the middle of them because like, I believe you read yours first.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing because I'm like, I said almost the same thing. Like, so I said something else, but in a very similar way. I'm like, oh my God.
You're like, holy shit, this works.
Yeah, holy shit, we're on the same page. Like, it's so beautiful. I love it when my couples do that and they keep them a surprise from each other. And, I can be standing between them, like holding the microphone as the first one reads. And I'll just look over to the second one and they'll go, and I'll go, mm-hmm. Like, it's beautiful when you go in front of everyone as a surprise for each other. We both value the same things. We both recognize the same things in each other. It just, it feels like a really special moment of connectedness. And I'm so glad that you had that as well at your first look. That's becoming a lot more popular here in Australia too. So your videographer suggested it?
I kind of knew I already wanted to do that, just to allow us to have that kind of private moment. But Riley, the way he'll do his videos is he will create the video and put your vows over the video.
Nice, the audio.
Yeah. So in order for him to get that good recording, he had let us know, okay, I'll, mic you up beforehand, and we'll read them privately, which was perfect. It was beautiful.
Very clever.
So we did it right in the pine trees. On the other side of the inn. So like all our guests were on the other side, and it really felt like we were the only ones there. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's magic. What about anything funny, anything unusual happen on the day of or in the lead up?
Very small story, but like we exchanged gifts the morning of the wedding and of all the preparation going on and how detailed, Ashley, this especially, we went to go exchange gifts and then she goes, oh crap, I never even wrote in your card. And I just say I wasn't, whatever. It was not a big deal, but I just laughed because of everything that went into it.
And it's fitting because you're always so good with cards. And I'm always like, what? A card? Like,
are we still doing those? Oh,
no, but no, we exchanged the cards at least.
Like the next day or exactly.
That's really sweet.
The awesome part too was on Sunday. So we got married on Saturday. It was phenomenal. Sunday, we had breakfast with everyone. They checked out at 11 and we stayed one more night. So we got to stay right there and we did an incredible dinner in this little boathouse right on the lake.
Tim is clutching his chest in memory of the delicious dinner. Tim, would you like to share about this special dinner you had?
I've said this to just about everybody, but between the chef and our bartender, Kevin and John,
we were in tears.
Let's also just say that our photographer was able to get us our sneak peek photos about 30 to 60 minutes before this dinner. And Ashley and I were like, all right, let's wait till dinner and let's look at them. And we were literally bawling our eyes out while looking at these photos. And John comes in with our drinks.
Our bartender.
And he knew, it wasn't like, what's going on over here? Like he knew what was going on. We got to connect with him a little bit ahead of time.
And he had told us that night too, like, I didn't drink on our wedding day because I was so nerved up and I don't drink a lot. And so I was like, I'm not going to drink anything. And so the next night, he was like, don't even ask for drinks tomorrow night. I'm just going to make you guys something. So he was just bringing us fabulous drinks.
Yeah. So we had a great start to the dinner but the food itself, I have never in my life had an experience like this with food and drink paired together so well.
Oh, wow.
The quality of the food.
It was insane.
It was a 4-course meal and we were in there for 3.5 hours.
Boy.
And I brought the dessert back with us to finish in the morning.
I have a picture of her
savoring this
bed.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. Best meal of my life.
Back to the gifts that you gave each other on the morning of. Are you willing to share what it was that you gave each other? Because I know a lot of couples don't know what to give and what to do. And are you able to share?
I know what some of yours was.
I gave Ashley the morning of a pair of earrings and a necklace.
Tim spoiled me rotten, and I had like a gift before we left and a gift when I came home. Like a little stone for our garden, some little just sweet things.
I got a pair of earrings that were amethyst that are
my
birthstone. And I know she doesn't like large dangling earrings, so they were nice little oval stones.
They're beautiful.
And then a turquoise necklace because she's very near and dear to a turquoise ring of her grandmother's.
Yep.
So I wanted to make sure that she had another piece to.
I remember what I got you. We also have a good sense of humor. Tim loves raccoons.
Okay.
He's not allowed to have it as a pet.
Sure.
So I got him a little bookmark that has a little just raccoon poking out of the page. And a nice leather belt. It's just a traditional, beautiful leather belt, but on the inside, where no one sees it, it says, what does it say?
It essentially says something like, you're a handsome guy, but...
Thank you, or something about being a handsome husband. Think of me every time you take your pants off. Love your wife, or love Ashley. And I knew he'd be like, yep, that's from her.
That's really cute. Oh, guys, this is beautiful. It doesn't sound like you did, but did anything go really badly wrong? Were there any disasters that you just had to go, we'll just keep trucking?
My grandmother couldn't make it. And that was there were some decisions we made. Okay, she's going to be here and we're going to make this work. And like I said, a really close family friend of mine was able to come, but that's where I rolled with it. I wasn't going to let myself be upset about one little thing when everything was pretty phenomenal. And when on the way home, we stopped and we saw my grandmother and got to kind of see her. I had my bouquet still in a Yeti cup that I had. So I walked in with like a big Yeti cup with my bouquet. So we took a great picture with her.
Which is what every grandma wants to see.
She loved it. Yeah, it was awesome.
That's gorgeous. Oh, I'm so thrilled for you both. So if you could go back, if you could do it all again, I know you both would immediately, but would you do anything slightly differently?
I think for me personally, and I know we kind of said this of having a large wedding versus a small wedding, but like, I think I spent almost too much time behind the drums and not enough time out with some of the guests. I mean, again, very thankful we got the full weekend, but there were some guests that were only there on the day of that I didn't quite get to spend as much time as I'd like. But I know they could see that we were having fun, so I didn't feel so bad.
And from my perspective, like watching like my uncle, like watching him play drums, he was in awe. He loved it. So it's like, I'm not upset about it because I know they were having a ball, but I feel the same way. I didn't play anything and I still felt like I barely saw people.
It's a really common feeling from couples after their wedding that they just didn't connect with people for as long or as deeply as they wanted to. And you only had 35 guests. Like, you know, and I'm trying to tell these people who have 100 plus.
No way.
It's almost impossible to get time with them. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, you would have given your friends and family so much more of yourself than most.
And we kept saying like, we felt like we were engulfed in emotions like the whole weekend. And even when we came home, like we came home and I was like, oh, we have gifts to open? Like what? Like it wasn't until we got
The
home that we
love
started.
just keeps coming.
Yeah, we were opening them. I'm like, I don't know how people could do it with 50 or 100 people. That would just be overwhelming.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of couples find. That's beautiful, guys. So it sounds like you had a massive success. It sounds like whatever nights you spent planning, changing plans, Ash, you know, tinkering with the spreadsheet, you know, finding business cards before you're even engaged and deciding to have a painter. Whatever you did, it all came together really, really well. So what would your biggest tip be for an engaged couple who are maybe listening to this and going, I think they've got the recipe right? What would you say to them?
I think I would say like early on, just really trying to think about what is most important. Like I feel like we kind of boiled down to like, what are the big key things that are really most important to us and that we're not going to really compromise on. And then other things that can just kind of go as we go. We knew music we weren't going to compromise. We knew we wanted really good food for our guests. We knew we wanted to spend time with these people that were coming, and we were willing to pay a little extra to make that happen. We're also willing to forgo other things and not feel like we had to please other people or do things because other people might think we should or needed to. We kind of put tradition aside and did what felt right to us.
Tim, have you got any advice?
I think just, again, echo it's important to you, but also as much as you can. I know you haven't experienced this until it happens, but try to put yourself in your shoes that day and know what you might need to do. Like for us, we spent some time away from people. Just give yourself some time because it can be overwhelming. Don't feel like you have to be a 10 out of 10, 100 miles per hour all day long. Like you take your time and be slow. Yeah, marathons.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Yeah.
Exactly. Stop at that drink table. So your most favorite part of the day, and you can't just say the whole thing and you can't just say the whole weekend. I need you to drill down for me. Favoriteest part, the memory you'll never forget. What would it be?
I mean, our Sunday night meal, I'm not going to forget that. But
Yeah.
no, but in reality, two things. I think first was seeing all of our friends and family, a lot of our worlds collide. People we've known forever and just getting to meet each other and see how their personalities come together and them share stories of how they know us and just those types of experiences.
Seeing everyone collide in the parking lot in the driveway, I was like, I know you. I know you. This is so cool.
Isn't it bizarre when you're actually there and you go, I know everyone at this party. And then you go, of course I do. But it's not until you're in that moment where you go, wow.
It was amazing.
Ultimately, I know I said it earlier, but our first look, seeing Ashley getting the turnaround, seeing her, I mean, I could hear her coming for her laugh and everything.
I feel like that's a given with Ash, though. I've known you for a grand total of an hour, but I feel like, yeah, you'd hear Ash before you see her.
Yeah, always. I'm known for my laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then sharing our vows together privately, just that 20 minutes was the highlight of my weekend.
No.
I would echo that. Like, I remember coming out of my mom's suite in my dress, and like even the idea of people can't see you before the ceremony, I was like, I don't care about that. Like, that's not that important. But I popped out of the room thinking, I'm going to see somebody, like, and no one was there. And I walked through the front door of the inn. No one was there. And being able, like, seeing Tim back down in the trees with a lake behind him and just walking through the woods up to him and then, you know, saying our vows. It was magical. It was so cool. And then, like I said before, just standing in my mom's suite, waiting for it to be time for me to go and seeing the flower girl, my cousin's daughter, Tatum, seeing her throwing the flowers and seeing Ben on bass and the band playing and everyone like standing up. I'm like, oh, now it's time for me. Like, this is so cool. I just felt like I was invisible, but like witnessing this, like in my head, I was like, oh, I'm not going to see this part. Like, this is why we hired a videographer, but I got to see it, but they couldn't see me. I was able to watch everyone outside.
That's incredible.
It felt like an out-of-body experience. It was insane.
To have that vantage point, it's like you're looking from above, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Oh, look, it's time for the bride. Oh.
That's me.
That's me. Yeah. My mom can attest to that. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And my mom walked me down the aisle and it was beautiful.
Guys, I really appreciate you like being so open and sharing your experiences with us, because I just know that it helps other people to go, oh yeah, I feel that too. Oh yeah, we really want that as well. And it just gives them the courage to go after what they want and maybe not be weighed down by not being seen before the ceremony or something like that. It's fine if that's what you want to do, but if you don't, then yeah, you kind of need some people before you to go, see, nothing happened to me. Everything's fine. So thank you very much for sharing on the other side of the planet. And is it a holiday tomorrow for you?
It is. Tomorrow is Independence Day for the States, and we got a little bit of a long weekend.
Yeah. So we're going to stay home and do lots of yard work.
Yeah.
Oh, and Tim's eyes just glazed over there. But I'm sure you'll have fun anyway. It's so, so lovely to meet you. I really appreciate you reaching out as well. And have a wonderful Independence Day long weekend.
Awesome. It was great meeting you. Thank you so much.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. That about wraps it up for this episode of the Unbridely podcast. For the links and resources we mentioned, please head to the show notes. And if you love the show, please review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're on now so you don't miss out on a single episode. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, weddings are a team sport. Catch you soon.